We've got just a couple of things I want to talk to you about before we get started. We have a pot of water on here right now, and the recipe that you have in front of you is designed for your home use. The pot that we're doing tonight is a lot larger. It has an internal basket in it, and at the end we'll pull that basket out, and all the good stuff that we've cooked tonight will be inside that basket. The recipe that you have before you is more of a small pot. It uses basically a gallon of water, and this uses quite a bit more. And as this comes to a boil, we're going to start adding our vegetables and stuff in here. How many people have ever heard of frogmore stew? Frogmore stew. How many people have ever heard of low country boils? Okay. Crawdad boils? They're all the same thing. Every region in the United States, especially our coastal towns, have different names for this same dish. Up north, in Maine and in the New England states, they do this, and instead of shrimp, they use lobster. We're going to use lobster today, but they've been shrunk, okay? They're only about that big. When you get down into Georgia and South Carolina, even the North Carolina coast, they tend to call it more of what we're doing today is a low country boil, and they tend just to have shrimp, okay? Some places put blue crabs. It depends on where you're at and what port and what's available. And that is the main thing. What is available in that region? When you get on further south into Louisiana, they tend to have crawdad boils or mudbug boils or whatever you want to call them. Our crawdads that we're using today, they come from Louisiana. So it's a USA product. And I'm proud to say that. And there's another thing, that when you go buy shrimp out of our meat department or our seafood department here at Food City, you can ask them for North Carolina shrimp, and folks, they can get it for you overnight. A lot of our shrimp comes from Thailand and Vietnam, and we don't do so much any China or anything like that, but some of our shrimp comes from overseas somewhere, and there's nothing wrong with that shrimp. And tonight we're going to use some of that shrimp. Simply because of the convenience. But you can get local seafood right here in Food City. The seafood department told me just last week that their North Carolina shrimp comes from Murrells Inlet. If any of you have ever been to the beach, you've been to Murrells Inlet. And that's where this shrimp comes from. So you can use different sizes of shrimps. You're going to find out tonight. We can use small shrimp. And what judges me on what size shrimp I use is how many people am I going to have? How many people know how they determine the weight of shrimp? Tell me. 4150, 20. This that you see in this bowl right here, that is 4150. That means there is anywhere between 41 and 50 shrimp per pound. This shrimp that you see here, can you tell the difference? That's called U10. Why? Because there's only 10 shrimp per pound. I'll show you here. Compare these two shrimp. Granddaddy, baby, okay? And this looks like really good sized shrimp. But when you compare it to this right here, it doesn't look so large. So if you're having small group, use bigger shrimp. If you like bigger shrimp, if you like smaller shrimp and you got a small group, use smaller shrimp. So we're going to get started here tonight. The first thing that we want to do is we want to get our water to start boiling. And I've had this on for a little while, and it is starting to boil. Inside the pot, you can see through on our TV up above us there that I have already added some seasoning. I like to add some seasoning to our pot before it actually starts to boil. And then what we use is our Old Bay seasoning. How many people have ever used Old Bay seasoning before? Old Bay seasoning is good when you make hush puppies. It's good when you make salmon patties. It's good when you do any kind of seafood. It's a really good product to use. And it calls for a half a cup on your recipe per gallon of water. I've already added some, but folks, we're going to add a little bit more than a half a cup. Okay? The reason being is we're cooking with a lot of water. I got a question for you. Last week when we did the potatoes, did everybody here eat some? Were they too salty? Not a one said they was too salty. You know why? That was a lot of potatoes. So you add more seasoning usually than you think what you really need. We're going to use one more thing tonight, and I've already added some into our water, And it is the season. This is a dry white wine. It is called a Chardonnay. If you're worried about the alcohol, don't worry about it. It will cook out, folks. It steams, it evaporates. So this is just something to give a little flavoring to it. Then we're going to go over to our other ingredients. On your recipe, you will see that it says to start off with your onions, correct? Or your citrus, correct? Old Bay, and then lemons. You're going to see a couple of things different in this recipe. One is we are using lemons. We're also using limes. The reason I'm doing that is to show you that you can use whatever citrus you like. If you like oranges, use oranges. If you like oranges, put a little bit of orange juice in your water, and that'll give it flavor. If you like lemons, use lemon. If you like limes, use lime. If you like it all, folks, use it all. The other thing you'll see on there that is a little bit different is it says to wait on your onions on that recipe, but since we're doing such a big pot, we're going to go ahead and add all of this in, and we're going to get the lid back on our pot so that it'll boil a little bit better. Okay. So we're going to let this boil for just a couple of minutes. This is not the lid for this pot, and the reason I'm using it is so that you all can see, but we may have to go to the other lid back here in just a second. How many people here like garlic? How many people despise garlic? No? Oh, okay. I want to share something with you. How many people here know how to peel garlic? When you get garlic, you get it in the head, like this. Some of it's called elephant garlic, some of it's regular garlic. My mother has garlic growing in her yard. And anytime she wants it, she goes out and she pulls a big old vine up, and it has the bulb on the end of it. This is the root end. And this is the end that the stem comes out of and comes out of the ground. What you want to do is you want to separate this. Anybody here cook with real garlic? Okay. How many people like peeling garlic? Not really. Why? It's hard. It's a thin skin, and it's a sticky herb that you're using. And I'm going to show you a quick way of doing it tonight. First thing you want to do, if you can see, can you all see up on the screen? All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to come right over here so you can see. Now can you see? You want to take and you want to clip the end on both ends. Then you're going to flip it over. Take your knife. Be very careful when you're doing this, okay? Take your knife with the dull end towards your hand. Lay it. Smack it. You ever get mad at somebody and want to take out aggression? That's how you do it. Now look what you got to do. All you got to do is grab a hold of your peeling and pull out your garlic. And it's peeled for you. So we're going to add some garlic to our boil today. We just had some people come in that I want to say hi to. This is my family. My wife's brother and his children and wife come in just now. And they have a little boy with them by the name of Matthew. And Matthew doesn't know this right now, but in just a few minutes, Matthew's going to come up and demonstrate to you all how to eat a crawdad. Okay, the next thing we're going to add is we'll go ahead and add our potatoes. Okay, and our potatoes is one of the things that's going to take the longest to cook. We've got our potatoes in there, and they're going to be cooking for a little while. How many people like summer sausage? Okay, the summer sausage I'm going to use today for you is a Cajun summer sausage. It comes from our meat department. It is a Cajun. It has garlic, it has pepper, it has all the Cajun spices. It's already put into this sausage, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to let this boil for a little while, and then we're going to add our sausage, then we're going to add our corn. Why do we go in this order? Anybody? Potatoes take the longest to cook. The sausage is more of a seasoning than it is an actual meal. Now, I could live on the sausage alone. My doctor don't like that, me saying that, I'm sure. Anybody here have problems with cholesterol or anything? You can tell your doctor it was boiled and all the cholesterol was boiled out of it, okay? Don't give him my name after you tell him that, though. So what we're going to do is we're going to add this. The crawdads that we're going to use today. Now, folks, I'm going to go ahead and warn you, I am going to uncover them at this time, okay? Some of you are kind of squeamish, but I'm going to show you what these look like. It's hard to see up there, okay? Who said yummy? Okay. Here's your crawdad. Okay, these, when you get them in our seafood department, are fully cooked. And I'm going to show you the bag that they come in. These come from Louisiana. It's called Riceland Crawfish. Okay, these are fully cooked. They're fully seasoned. When you put these into your water, they are going to help the seasoning that you have. Folks, if you like spicy, if you like really spicy, and one reason I left it out tonight is I know some people have problem with spicy food, not only the taste of it, but also digesting spicy food. So I left it out for today, but you can go down and you can get a thing called Zatarain's liquid crab boil, okay? And you can put it in with your shrimp boil. And what that's going to do is that's going to hike up the flavor a little bit. It's going to make it a spicier product. And these are seasoned with that. These are fully cooked. If I wanted to right now, I could pick one up and I could eat it cold. Anybody here like cocktail shrimp? That's what that is. It is a fully cooked product. Now you can order these, folks. You can order crawdads alive. How many people want to do that? Huh? They're good, right? Have you ever had them? You take them and you put them, they come in a burlap sack. Sometimes usually when you order them over the internet or you order them from places like Cajun Country or different places like that, they'll send them to you in 50-pound sacks. Okay, that's usually the smallest sack of crawdads that you can get shipped from Louisiana to Tennessee. And so, you know, that's a lot. If everybody here had come to eat a meal tonight, and we knew that you were coming to eat a full meal, that would be about right, 50 pounds. And that is if everybody liked it, okay? Not everybody's gonna like it. So that is the point of this. The point of this whole stew, or this whole boil, is this. Easy, a lot of food, and a lot of fun, okay? How many people do not like eating with your hands? How many people do? It's fun to eat with your hands, isn't it? Okay, and that's what we're going to do tonight. When we do this on picnics, when we do this at our homes, when we do this wherever we do it, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll take newspaper and we'll lay it out on the paper, on the table, on the picnic table, and folks, we'll take it out of the pot, and what will we do with it? We will pour it all the way across the table, and everybody sits down and eats it. It is one of the most communal meals that you'll ever have. To be able to sit across from your neighbor, just make sure everybody washes their hands before they eat, okay? And you just dig in and you eat what you want, and usually there is something left over, okay? Usually there is something left over for the next day. The leftovers for this is really simple to do. Take your baggies, okay? Gallon-sized baggie. A lot of times, especially if you have the tail-on shrimp and the crawdads, you want to double your baggies up or get really heavy-duty baggies. And the reason being is these have sharp points on them. There's claws and there's tails and there's different things that's going to poke through. Put all of your leftovers in a baggie, okay? And after you put your leftovers in the baggie, stick them in the refrigerator, bring them down to temperature, and then the next morning when you get up, or maybe you can't wait till the next morning and it's midnight and you want to get up and have a little bit of a shrimp boil, pull it out of the refrigerator. Don't worry about warming it up. Eat it like it is, and it's good, okay? A lot of times when we go on vacation, we'll take it and we'll eat it the night before. And then we'll take it in coolers, will we not? Take it in coolers on ice and pull out a baggie on the beach, and there's nothing more satisfying than sitting on the beach, listening to the ocean, and eating seafood, okay? And that to me is it. That is a wonderful place to be in life. So I hope that you all can enjoy this. We have let our potatoes cook for a little while. We're gonna go ahead and add our sausage in to help that start getting warm and mellowing out. Can you smell anything over there? Can you start to smell it? Okay. Tell me some ideas that you might have. What are some things that you would put in this? Clams. Clams are good, but let me tell you something about clams. If you do clams in this, what you want to do is you want to either put them in a burlap sack or cheesecloth and tie them together. Why? Because when they open up and this water's boiling, a lot of times all your clams will come out of the shell and they'll go to the bottom of the pot and you really won't find them. Okay? Take you some cheesecloth and lay them out like this sheet of paper. Put all your clams in the middle. Draw all your corners together and take you a twist tie or a piece of string, butcher's twine, and drop them in your shrimp boil and do it the very last thing. Because all you're wanting to do with clams is you're wanting them to open. And once those clams open, they are done. And you really want to steam clams more than you do boil, so you don't necessarily have to have it down in the water. You can just set it on top of your boil as it's boiling, and the steam will open those up and they'll be perfect. And the flavorings in this with clams is wonderful. Anybody else? She crabs, and Dungeness crabs, blue crabs, anything, any kind of seafood. You can, fish, I would stay away from. Okay? Why? Fall apart. Exactly. Lobsters. How many people we talked about love lobsters? I shared with you before, lobster's a wonderful meal, isn't it? Went to eat with a gentleman one time, and we ordered lobster, and he had never had it before. And he got up from the table, and he hadn't eaten hardly any of his lobsters. And I asked him what was wrong. You know what was wrong? It was too hard. He couldn't crunch it all. He didn't know that you had to shell it, okay? So we stayed a little bit longer for him in order to let him enjoy his lobster. He liked it a whole lot better once he found out it was done. Lobsters is the same way with the clams, except you do not have to wrap them up, of course. What you want to do is you want to get everything else started. And then when you open your pot, you want to put it in the top and wrap your tails to the inside, put the backs of the lobsters to the outside, and put you in this pot. You would hold about 4 to 6 lobsters, depending on the size of them. Put them around the edge and then stick them in the middle. And just let them sit for 8 to 10 minutes, enough to turn them red. And then it'll be perfect for what you need. Somebody else? Scallops? Not really, because it's like fish. It's a firm, meaty, and you braise scallops and cook them in butter with bacon. That's something that you can put in here too, folks, if you like bacon. We talked about that last week, didn't we? Bacon is really good in here for flavoring. Crab legs. How many people like crab legs? You can buy crab legs down here in our seafood department, and you can get them and put them in, and they just need a minute. All you're doing with crab legs is warming them up. They are pre-cooked. If you buy crab legs in the United States of America, they are a pre-cooked product, because as soon as they come off the crab boats, folks, they send them through a processing plant, and they are steamed right there on spot. And then they are quick frozen. So it's something that you can try out that way also. A lot of people will cook corn to death. I'm not that type of person. I will cook corn in boiling water for 1 to 2 to 3 minutes at the most. 3 minutes at the very most. Because folks, let me tell you something. I like raw corn. I like to go out in the field and shuck it and eat it right there. Now my stomach doesn't like that too much sometimes, especially if it's real hot outside, and generally when we harvest the corn it is. This corn we're going to put in here today has been cut up into little corn niblets. Why? Same reason our shrimp, we talked about the size of our shrimp, okay? You look at this corn and you see we've cut it up small, and that's portions. It is easy for you to go back and get more corn, but folks, if we put a whole ear of corn in here, one person would get 1 ear of corn, and it wouldn't be very much, okay? So we want to cut our corn up kind of small, and that way you can have it. When you get done with this, you can see that there's a variety of things that you can dip it in. Cocktail sauce, tartar sauces, clarified butter, different things that you can use. This is fresh corn. This come out of our produce department. There's a yellow and a bicolored corn here. Okay. You can see in that pot real quick before I put the lid back on it that is about the last thing that's actually going to fit down in the water, right? And folks, that's planned, because corn is about the last thing that we want to fit down in this water. The rest of the stuff that we're going to put in here is steamed. The shrimp, when we put them in there, you do not want to cook shrimp for 10 minutes. You do not want to cook shrimp for 5 minutes. You want to cook shrimp, like the lady said in the back, until it's done. And usually that's 3 to 4 minutes until it turns pink. And the shrimp that we're using today that I showed you, the smaller shrimp and the larger shrimp both, is a raw, easy peel shrimp. This come back in from our freezer department, and all you do to thaw it out is you open the bag, and it does have a zipper top on it, but I just use a knife, so excuse me. You pull it out of the bag, you stick it in your sink in some cold water and wait probably about 30 minutes and it'll be thawed. And why do they call it easy peel? How many people have ever taken on the task of deveining shrimp yourself? How many people like that? Okay, I'm going to show you what they've done for you. They have taken this shrimp, and I'm going to use the larger so that you can see, and it still has the peel on it, okay? And what they have done is they have went ahead and they've split it for you and deveined it. When you pull this out and when you thaw it out, it's shell on, and the reason we want shell on is because if you don't, the shrimp is going to shrivel up into a little ball about that big. And you're going to think, where did all my shrimp go? Okay, what the shrimp shell does is it holds the integrity, and when you leave the tails on, folks, it just really gives you something to hold on to, okay? I have a brother-in-law who likes to eat shrimp tails. He's in the house if you want to offer counseling to him. He's a weird person, so no, he's my buddy. So, but we want the shrimp shells on, okay? So I want to encourage you to try that. Now, if you've got some in your freezer and it's already cooked even and it's been shelled, throw it in there. But folks, especially if it's already cooked, just leave it for a minute, just enough to bring it up to temperature, okay? And after we do that, you pull it out and you put it on our platters, and it's ready to go. It does not take a long time. You can kill shrimp's flavor by just cooking it way too long, okay? When these cook, of course, they curl up. This is your tail end and your head end, okay? I'm not gonna eat one right now because I really want to warm them up before I do. As you break them apart, you pinch, okay? You see, that's the tail end that you're talking about. You see all that stuff on it? That is called roux. That is, excuse me, but the brains and everything that's in the head. That is the flavor, okay? In my opinion, this head end, though you don't get as much meat from the tail end, the head end, you get a whole lot more flavor out of it than you do this. So when they're connected like this, yeah, it's gonna have more flavor. That head is hollow, like some people I know. None in this room, of course. But this head is hollow, and when you boil this, what's it gonna do? It's gonna fill up with water. And what's in your water? Seasoning. So it's going to fill up with the seasoning. Thus, it's going to get on the tail end also. So yeah, it has a lot more flavoring if you leave the heads on. Shrimp is the same way. I love head-on shrimp. A lot of people call them prawns or different names, but head-on shrimp has a lot more flavoring to me. But we're going to pull this out of the pot now. I just sampled one to make sure that it was ready to go, and it is. It is not burn your hands hot, but it is hot enough where we want it to be to eat. So what you're going to see right now is something that you need to be very careful with if you go out and get one of these pots because you have hot liquid with many pounds of food, and if you're not careful, it could be disastrous. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull our cutting board over here like this. And we're going to put a piece of paper on here, making sure the stove eye is not on in any way. And what this is going to do is this is going to give us a path through our pan. So we're going to go ahead and pull this out. And you can see the liquid coming out of the bottom. All right, here's the moment of truth. I just need you to stand right there in case I need you to.
Whenever you want me.
All right, and there we go.